All right, guys, so the other day we got that twid that teased the 10th anniversary of Destiny, as well as something called Codename Frontiers. And yesterday we got a huge reveal by Bungie on the future of Destiny 2, and it's going to change everything. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. We've got a lot of new Destiny 2 stuff to cover since yesterday's mega dump of information. Before we get too deep into this, do me a favor and head to the comments and let me know if you're on board for this new era of Destiny, or have you hung up your guns now that the final shape is over and we've concluded the Light and Darkness saga. While you're down there, smash that like button like it's a Vex after your last glass of milk, so that we can get this video pushed out into the algorithm and recommended to more viewers. So yesterday, Bungie not only dropped more information on the codename Frontiers, but they dropped more posts and deep dived into various aspects of what some of these changes to the game would be. I mean, almost every aspect of Destiny is going to be touched on in the future updates. Changes to the expansions from one big one every year to 2 medium-sized expansions and 4 major updates. Seasons are coming back. Weapon farming is finally being addressed, and the expansions and updates are free. Game director Tyson Green and Destiny 2 narrative director Allison Lurs broke down a lot of what these changes would mean for the future of Destiny 2, and it kind of gave us a little bit of a soft roadmap for 2025. Now, honestly, it was as if Tyson and Allison were speaking directly to the concerns of the community. A lot of what was said, and yeah, it just kind of reflected the state of the players. The game has become a sort of series of checklists and rigid formulaic expansions and season passes. I mean, let's face it, we're just kind of going through the motions a lot of time. Another thing that was addressed was the new player experience. And this is something that has been a major concern for us in the community for a long time now. Live service games depend on new players coming into the game, and accessibility and approachability is a key factor in all of this. One major improvement is going to be with the game's UI, meaning we may not have the typical overview of the solar system that we've looked at for the last 10 years now, and that's going to be huge. That's a huge step. So much of the game's activities have been buried across all of these planets and moons that I think we forget what it's like to be a new player sometimes, to have to go hunt down these quests and activities, even as streamlined as they've made it in the past. I mean, if you want a prime example of how janked the UI is, just, my gosh, look at the quest tab. And it's not just activities, but where to go to get the loot. Every week I have to go scrubbing through the game's menus to find where the pinnacle rewards are. Which exotic mission do I need to run? What dungeon? It's been a mess for so long that I just sort of accepted it as a mess. And this isn't even scratching the surface of what new players probably really have to go through. Speaking of loot, gear is also going to have some challenges tied to the loot system. So the higher the challenge, the better the weapon. Yeah, we're going to be having game modifiers that are going to affect the quality, or should I say the tier of the weapon that will drop. Sort of like running dungeons on higher difficulty gets us artifice armor. We're going to see something like that with weapons. And I think that that's a great improvement. However, I have concerns. I just don't want to see these top tier weapons annihilating the weekend casuals in the PvP modes. We already have to contend with the Trials tryhards and their Trials weapons. Getting smacked down by an uber sweat in PvP that has a gun that can one-shot the map with the single pull of a trigger is going to create a disparity between the players and set the elitists off on even more rants about, dare I say it, getting good. I know the Destiny team has a lot of work ahead of them, and balancing the weapons is just one small part of that. So for now, it's a thing that I'm just going to keep my attention on and see how they address that, in the coming months. I think the biggest thing that I took away from the update was the new multi-year saga. I think this is the biggest one of all, deep down, aside from any sandbox changes, quality of life improvements, UI changes, and even, you know, how the weapon pool and loot pool is handled. I think the biggest issue here is going to be the content. Because I'll be completely honest, I actually thought Destiny 2 was over. I was positive that we were just headed for a future where episodes were the new seasons and no more paid expansions meant that maybe in place of expansions, we were going to get some kind of narrative, you know, thing every 3 or 4 months at best. I mean, I was hopeful that there was a light at the end of the tunnel, but the tunnel just didn't seem to have any end in sight. And then, of course, we got this big update. Now, the Apollo expansion, which is a working title, will start next summer, and it will kick off a new saga. And you know what? That actually excites me. At the same time, Bungie is releasing the Arsenal updates. We're going to have, Apollo expansion, Arsenal update, followed by the Surge update. And then come winter of 2025, we'll get the Behemoth expansion, also a working title. I know for a lot of players, this will just seem like a fresh coat of paint on an old derelict building at this point. And I can't change anyone's perception of Destiny 2. I mean, if you hate the game, I'm not trying to make you suddenly fall in love with it. If you think Bungie are a group of incompetent half-wits, I'm not going to try to change your opinion. I mean, if you're done, you're done. End of story. However, at the time of this video, I had just surpassed the 3,000 hour mark on Steam for Destiny 2. And that combined with my time spent on Xbox adds up to over 4,000 hours. I feel like this new direction and the possibility that the game will get more content, yeah, it gets me really excited to go even further, to see how many more hours I can put on it. I mean, real talk, I don't know if I have another 10 years and 4,000 plus hours in me, but I'm willing to give it another go around as long as the game is fun. And I'm having fun, right? That's the most important factor to me. Am I having fun? But I want to turn the questions over to you. How do you feel about the start of this new era of Destiny? Is it the blood transfusion that the game has sorely needed, or is it little more than a bandage on a terminal wound? Head to the comments and let's get that conversation going. Guys, that is it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, then hit that like button. And of course, if you are new here and you want to see more videos on gaming news and update discussions, then be sure to subscribe to the channel. Links to my socials are in the description below. Have an amazing day, everyone. Keep being awesome. And I will see you all in the next video.